All right. There we go. Now we're recording for everybody that's going to be on this call so they can watch it later. Here we go. So, triage in command for expanding MCIs. What is MCI? It's a multi-casualty incident, something that we think about as greater than 6 to 7 individuals on scene. So it's going to be overwhelming. So it's not just going to be, it's again, more than 3, ideally more than 6 to 7. So it's going to overwhelm all of our resources that we have. Triage. Everybody understands what triage is. We want to do the greatest amount of good with the least amount of people or with the resources that we have available. And so, again, that's what we look at for here. It's how do we optimize that treatment, that care for those patients that we have as we become overwhelmed ourselves, which is honestly pretty easy down in the southern portion of the municipality. We have 3 to 6 people maybe that respond up to some of these big calls. We've gone to a couple very large incidents, i.e. a 48-passenger bus going on head-on with another vehicle, so they're involved with a secondary passenger vehicle, so you're talking 50-some patients pretty easily right off the get-go. And that is very difficult for any department, let alone a smaller department like ours, or somebody in even a smaller area with less resources available as well. So how do we do it? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. We go a little bit. We start breaking it apart. We're going to talk about. So again, what is this meant to do? It's meant to break apart and divide, so we can conquer. How do we things? We basically select. We slowly refined how triage came about. We look at what we were trying to save and how we were going to save it. And so again, came through some of the basics. In the military and the war events that we've been exposed to. Different types of triage systems. We typically use START. Jumpstart is a couple other options where you look at SALT. There's different military acronyms that they'll use as well. Within the March program, they might still go back to a START basic. Simple triage and rapid transport. START. That's all it means. Simple triage and rapid transport. That is the baseline of what we're looking for. There's sorting options. There's some other things that jumpstart's more of a pediatric style. There's different things we can look for. We want to sort, treat, and transport. That's all we're trying to do here. Triage tags. We might get into that here in a little bit as well. Triage tags can give some guidance on there. Every agency is used different triage tags in the municipality. The hospitals use different triage tags. Anchorage Fires use some. We use the DMS system locally, which does use START. But the idea that there's some 1980s civil defense style triage tag still floating around with some weird turtles and other images and colors added to it. Everything's still based off of a green, yellow, red, black for kind of our severities. But when we start thinking about the different types of triage tags out there, there's no single uniformed system that's been adopted. There is no FEMA ICS 100 for triage. We're not at that level. The HICS, the Hospital Incident Command System, actually identifies that there isn't a universal triage system as well. So again, working through some of the triage options and how we can look at, again, what we have, know your system's current protocols. That's the best way to look at it. So SOGs, right? Standard Operating Guidelines. We got a whole bunch of different things. They can be very specific to a vehicle fire, structure fire, water response, backcountry. There's very, very detailed information in there that we can find. START triage is and will be used for motor vehicle incidents with mass casualty incidents, MCIs, MVAs. They all kind of go together. So safety issues, again, we want to mitigate before performing triage. We don't want to put ourselves in further harm's way. It's the same thing we look on any EMS response, BSI, scene safe. There's no dogs biting, right? No dogs barking. We're doing good. We're safe to go in. As we look at that, if we want to jump in a vehicle, we want to make sure it's at least stabilized before we can start going into assess the patients, before we can start disentanglement. Again, triage tape can be used, and we want to make sure it's clearly visible. We have the surveyor's tape options. We have the neck, basically the cards that can go be draped over their neck. Sometimes we might not have access to that. Wrist and ankles on the extremities that are exposed are an easy place to tie it off. One of the things I do want to put a caveat in is if you are using surveyor's tape specifically, it's one for them, one for you. So if you put a piece of red ribbon around somebody, break off a piece of red ribbon and put it in your pocket. Because that's the only way when you're done to come back. And because we don't have tallies, we are horrible with actually taking Sharpies and markers and having an arm tally of red, green, yellow, black, whatever's. There is different areas that we look at. Again, if I put surveyor's tape around somebody, I'll take the tag or I'll tie it around them and I'll tear the tail off and put it in my pocket. Every piece I have in my pocket represents a person. That's the easiest way if you have triage tags that are surveyor's tape based. If you have an actual tag where you rip off, you have to know it's one worse than the color you have in your hand. So we go from green, yellow, red, black. So if I have a whole bunch of greens in my pocket, however many I have there is yellow. Because that's what's hanging around their neck at that initial triage time that they were designated. They're not gravely wounded, i.e. they're not dying immediately. They can be delayed, i.e. yellow in color. We'll talk a little bit about our span of control, breaking down to a medical group. Medical group could have different functions in it, right? We might have a triage team or a triage task force. You could break it down to all depends on how big the situation is and how fast it's expanding outside of our control, so we can try to get our hands wrapped around it sooner the better. Talking about the start triage again. Simple triage, rapid transport. 32 can do is the algorithm I really like to think about. 32 can do. Breathing 30 times a minute or less. So greater or less. 2 seconds on cap refill. Greater or less. Can do. Can they follow simple commands? 32 can do. That's my mantra when I'm in that high stress situation of trying to figure out triage. I can be walking around there and I can be whispering it to myself, speaking it out loud, coming up to the patient. Hi, my name is Mitch. I'm from the Gordon Fire Department. 32 can do. Then they ask me, what are you saying? Yeah, they have that coherence. They have that understanding. They're aware of what we're looking for. It's much better than that person that's just blankly staring off into the distance, right? So if you can just keep repeating to yourself, 32 can do, 32 can do. You can come in here, respirations, yes or no? Under 30 or over 30? If it's over 30, it's red, next patient, go. Right? If we then go down to perfusion, I look at, again, capillary refill. That's the simplest thing. Can that fool us in Alaska? 100%. If it is cold outside, that is, to me, a limitation that we have to take into consideration. Raynaud syndrome, all the other fun things out there that you can worry about medically wise with somebody, cold hands is common in Alaska. If we have cold hands, we are going to have delayed cap refill. I'm sorry. Like, even with perfusion, that's just part of the process. So, knowing that we have to work through some of this, are we looking at radio pulses? That's a very easy thing. If they have radio pulse, they're going to have good cap refill. Right. But then mentation. Can they follow simple commands? If we're already kind of going through some of this stuff, we're already thinking that 32 can do. When they show up and you get swarmed by the crowd on scene, those are all green at this point. Until secondary triage, I don't care about them. I'm going to say, hey guys, I need you to stand right over here by this car. I'll be right back. Stay there, please. And then I can say, hey, can I get a hand? And somebody can come maybe give me some support from that crowd. If I'm out there, hey, this person, I need you to help hold on their side. We need to do a little airway movement or something else. Let me know if anything changes. If they're willing, capable, and able, and so forth. But walking wounded, those are the people that surround you as soon as you get on scene. Lights and sirens, it's the moth to the light, moth to the flame, right? Everything else, we work through. This has been around for a very long time. You guys are not recreating the wheel. We just want to make sure it's as simple as possible in that high stress situation when we jump down to the basement in our thinking capacities and have to go back and start building our way back up those stairs to actually be a reasonably prudent, somewhat coherent individual thinking critically of what needs to happen next. 32 can do. 32 can do. So, sorted in the field, just like what I'm saying right now. This is where we're going through. This is something we've been preaching for a very long time. If you guys have been around the EMS field for a little bit, you've heard this and you'll hear it again. It's not going to change at this point. Altered level of consciousness is the thing that's the hardest to judge for me. What is that can-do question? What's your name? Okay, well now they're maybe alert and oriented to their name, but they have no idea what person, place, time, and event. So, but what is the can-do? Can you follow simple commands? Hey, my name is Manch with the fire department. What's going on? Great. I'm not asking them to tap their head and rub their belly at the same time because I can barely do that. I'm asking them a simple question to see if they can follow commands. If you're okay, you think you can move? What hurts? Great. Stay here. If anything happens, I need you to raise your hand if you can, or yell out. Again, red versus yellow. This is difficult. This is that quick. We need to spend less than 30 seconds with each patient is the goal in a triage situation. If we can get there and get there quickly, we can do a very good job sorting people out. Let's get the most critical, and know something, when they get over to a casualty collection point or some other location for a secondary triage, like, actually, no, bleeding stopped. Well, is it stopped because they're dead? Because we will all eventually stop bleeding. Or was there a tourniquet applied? Was something else that was a direct pressure? Did they fall? Was it something else going on that we didn't catch? And we thought, oh, no, problems. They didn't have the cap refill. Well, it's the wrong arm. Or that arm's now bandaged. What else do we need to do? So, black, no respirations with airway repositioning. That's what I'm talking about, that quick little head tilt chin lift. What do we need to do to put them into that recovery position? Where can we go to get this person maybe on their side, to keep their airway open, to keep moving? And then green is walking wounded. Again, those are the moss to the flame. Jump start. Start, but for kids, right? That's the pediatric side I was talking about. So when we go into here, we got the spontaneous breathing, yes or no. We got respiratory rates. It's a little different. We can't say 32 can't do that anymore because kids are different and we need to accept that. Yes, we can be scared, but they can hold on for so long until they just crash. And then we are way behind the curve. So, spontaneous breathing, positioning, where we have palpable pulses, 5 rescue breaths. We are giving them that. Again, children normally don't have a bad heart. Their tickers are pretty good. I'm not too concerned about that. I'm concerned about their airway. That's normally, for me, what gets kids. And that's the thing we want to work on. If we can't fix it, we got problems. So, rescue breaths, okay, spontaneous breathing, great. We gave them a couple breaths. Did they go through? Was it a choking issue? Was it something else happening? They're there. Respiratory rate, less than 15, greater than 45. Kids can breathe fast and be okay. If you try to breathe 30 times a minute for like 5 minutes, you're going to get pretty lightheaded and it's going to be fun. You put a kid on that could be their normal respiratory rate. That could be them just running around and having a good time. So understanding that these are different for the jumpstart idea for pediatrics that you'll then have for adults. So don't use 32 can do for a kiddo. Think about something a little different with some little different parameters for children. Palpable pulses, again, go down, grab the radial pulse, see if you feel anything. Neurological assessment, inappropriate, posturing, unresponsiveness. This is think about their appearance and their response. Are they clinging on to their mother, bawling their eyes out? Are they silent, still, and floppy? This is stuff we have to think about for what we're dealing with. It's amazing what happens when you get onto a big incident and a family member rushes you with a child in their arms outstretched. That's a completely different game-changing moment. And it's very easy to get that tunnel vision, to get sucked in to treat that one child that is very hard to step over to then get everybody else. Triage is the initial sort, and that's the hardest thing for us to do, is to not get sucked in and put all of our resources on one person. We have to get that big picture before we can go small. So, multiple victim incidents. Any situation with injury to under 12 people. So again, this is that it's not just our kind of smaller incidents, 3-ish. It's now going above this. And now we're saying we got problems. So what we're looking for, again, 3 or more patients, triage as immediate. Why? Because how many medics do we have? 2. So can we fit 2 patients in 1 medic? It's uncomfortable. Yes, we can. We can throw a backboard. We can basically take that seat and lay it down, strap the backboard on it, and have 2 supine patients. It is not fun. We only have 1 LifePack 35. Yes, we could steal maybe utilities, and so we could possibly transport 3 patients in a critical nature expeditiously, hopefully not fully crowding out the medic rig, but trying to have at least 1 main provider for each patient and keep moving. Anything more than that, we are tapped out of resources. We can't put people in the back of a pickup truck and drive to the hospital 10 miles down the road. We can't throw them in the back of an Uber in Las Vegas and get in Google nearest hospital and show up at sunrise and be right there and overwhelm a hospital that's now already at capacity. Now, there's not that many options here besides calling it out our additional resources, our air ambulance, and all the other resources we can get from Anchorage, from Whittier, from Hope, Moose Pass, Cooper Landing, Bear Creek, and, Guardian, Lifeman, all those options, right? We can get 3 air assets here pretty quickly if they're available within about 30 to 40 minute time frame. That's pretty impressive to get 3 separate air ambulances with a high level capability and now possibly with blood, all to come in to assist us for a mass, they say a multi-victim incident. Okay, so how does this roll out? Where do we know and how do we get this? Have we got? We've gone to instance where it's 1 vehicle, but there are 9 passengers, right? You get on scene and kids are crawling up over the inlet on the barrier rocks because they got ejected from the vehicle in the back seat and thrown onto the mud flats in one excursion. How do we know what we have? It's not just 1 person. We can always guarantee at least 1 person driving a vehicle, but you don't know how many more people there's going to be in that clown car of what you have to get and what you're going to be dealt with. So when the potential to overload the resources of a single hospital, that's something else. The Anchorage hospital system is pretty, I don't want to say pretty packed, but it's full at a pretty reasonable basis nowadays. We're going on recovery, we're going on rotation, we're going on recovery suspensions. Still, even though we're kind of coming into the off season, we don't have as many tourists. There is still a concern that we are not going to be able to bring everybody to the same hospital, i.e. splitting up families, which is one of the things we try to think about when we go into a medical group supervisor position underneath basically a large incident where we're going to start transporting out these patients and where they need to go to the most appropriate facility, but also trying to keep family members with other family members, i.e. a mother with a child. If that child goes to one hospital, the mother goes to the other, the anxiety and some of the other issues that might come out of this could compound the treatment efforts that we're giving. So again, this may also be initiated by dispatch based on the caller information. We might have somebody like we just had right now. We had an off-duty firefighter on location called for a cardiac issue. Unresponsive patient found down. Came in as cardiac arrest. Thank goodness it wasn't actually a code, that they actually had a pulse and they got more information than follow-up dispatch information. But that is a very reasonable expectation that when we do get moving and when we get those secondary kind of call-ins and additional information coming in, that's really beneficial. And then we give our scene size up. We get on location, we have 2 vehicles, we have 3 vehicles, 2 on its wheels, 1 on its side, blocking all lanes of traffic, shutting down both north and southbound lanes of the Seward Highway. That's a somewhat common incident for us. So, how many units do we have available on scene? Do we have an all-call? Do we have additional personnel coming? Do we have Anchorage Fire coming down to backfill us or support us with the additional need? Command communication. Whoo! Call early, call often. I know most of the helicopter companies tell us that all the time. We want to get the cavalry rolling because it takes them 40 plus minutes. We've had Whittier show up with great success down on the Portage Curve on some pretty big accidents and support and actually take patients with us to the hospital because Anchorage was barely getting to Potter's Marsh, McHugh Creek by the time they got on scene. I mean, that's phenomenal. If we can get them to clear the tunnel, get through the tunnel, come all the way over to us, Hopefully not hit a moose on the way home when they're coming back in service. But the idea, though, is that we have those partners and those resources locally that they can do a phenomenal job at supporting, and hopefully we can support them when they have something similar as well. So the accountability. This is where we start getting to a little bit more of a gray area when we have different types of agencies working together. Where does unified command come into play when we're working with a law enforcement and fire? First fire apparatus, first public safety apparatus, maybe on scene might call command. They might transfer that around. They might have different resources that we'll talk about here when we get into the actual span of control. But the idea, though, is that we want to call early. We want to have good accountability. So when we come there, we want to report to the incident commander. It doesn't matter if we're reporting to Whittier Fire, Gerber Fire on location. We have 3 apparatus, 6 responders. What do you need? They might just say, block the highway and walk on up, right? We just need personnel at this time. That's great. We might have Whittier bring the Whittier Ambulance 1 into the scene, past the scene, prepare to take a patient. We have a status 2, code yellow, code red patient, i.e. a critical patient. Status 1 is immediate life threat. Status 2 is possible. Status 3 is more stable. Red and yellow, I want you to drive a little faster, expeditiously get to definitive care. We all understand that area of it. But the idea here, though, is we have that accountability and that communication to keep things moving. Assign a group supervisor. A medical group supervisor is huge. If we have enough people out there that we can start breaking up into small teams, well, those teams are groups. And those groups could be extrication. It could be medical. It could even be traffic control. Yes.
And one more.
What's one more?
That hasn't been talked about yet.
Okay.
But you count the seats,
Mm-hmm.
you count whatever. And if there's the possibility of or the mechanism of injury, mechanism of crash.
Yep.
Leads you to believe there may have been an ejection.
Yep.
Grabbing the tick.
100%.
Especially at night to find or show for sure there is nobody out there.
And that's one of the things that our initial response incident commander, i.e. our utility 41 station officer showing up on scene, they have a tick in their vehicle specifically for that reason. Our rescue apparatus, both Rescue 42 and Rescue 41, have a thermal imager in their apparatus just for that reason. So they can go through on their initial scan of what do we have, what is our scene size up. We can go through there and I have 4 people on the ground. I see maybe 5 hot seats when I look through that thermal imager into that car. Knowing we can't really look through glass that well or other things, we have to open the doors. Glass might be gone already, which is great. Makes it easier for us to do a quick survey. All those things come into play. So with the group supervisors, though, knowing that we might need to do a secondary triage, they might have extra resources they might need. Designate staging areas. There's been times where we had a large, we're talking quarter-mile stretch of the Seward Highway between 76 and 77, where there was, I think, 7 cars involved. And we had one that was under a semi, really entrapped. We had other people with partial amputations in the ditch that we're dealing with. And they're a quarter mile down the way. So we're running around with our bags. Where do we put our equipment? Where do we put our vehicles? And so when we had a whole bunch of good Samaritans stop by, and we're assisting on scene, which was phenomenal. There's always a doc somewhere driving the highway. I don't know how this happens, but they're a doctor or something, and they are always willing to help. But they will be on scene somehow before us almost 100% of the time. But the idea, though, is that we staged one of our large apparatus. There's 1042 at the time that carried all of our rescue equipment, a lot of extrication or secondary extrication equipment, right next to one of the extrication scenes that we need to disassemble and basically get an individual removed from. And we had individuals that identified as firefighters from other areas and so forth that wanted to assist. They're like, great, that box right there, put everything on the ground right below it. Open up every cabinet and bring it up and take it out. That was the staging area for them. It might be staging for helicopters. It might be staging for law enforcement, for other DOT, sand trucks, DOT support vehicles, traffic control. There might be more things we need to stage. And we also might want to think about not blocking that exit for those medic units to get to the hospital. That's one of the things we really take into consideration of What is our staging? What is our tactical channels? How do we communicate with everybody on scene so dispatch doesn't have to be overwhelmed with all the little minutia of us trying to dictate a primary, secondary, and emergency extrication plan when we go through after a triage is complete. So we can relay things to say, okay, you guys are going to be on a separate TAC channel. That's the cool thing about the central zone that we have now for all these agencies, working in the Kenai Peninsula Borough, working for, even Anchorage as well, is that we can break down to a simplex, a walkie-talkie, hey you, it's me style, very small group, doesn't really broadcast anywhere else, simple channel for us. We have the KPB Mutual Aid channel, our KPB East channel, which is our primary dispatch channel for going up into that Turning Pass area, working with Hope, Cooper Landing, Moose Pass, and all those amazing agencies up there. We can all talk the same channel now, but when we get on scene, we can break down into secondary sub-channels, i.e. TAP channels, on scene there to say, rescue group, you guys move to this channel. We don't need to take care of Soldotna dispatch. Soldotna base 2 is overwhelmed with everything else going on. So there's a lot that we can think about. Yep. Did we get everybody in? Let's see. So assigning TAC channels is really important. That's going to help decrease the chatter to things you don't need to worry about. If you are assigned to extrication group, that's all that you're going to do. That's all you need to focus on. If you guys start freelancing and or thinking about other areas, we're not putting all of our effort to what we need to accomplish with the tactics and do the strategy and everything else that we've been given for the overall objective. When we move into medical group, where are we staging these? How are we taking these people out of the elements? That's one of the biggest questions I think we find in vehicle extrication and vehicle accidents on the Seward Highway is it safer to have them laid out in the middle of the highway or in their vehicle with the windows intact? Depends on the weather. It depends on the conditions. Is the car on fire or not? Right? And so this is all injuries. And injuries, exactly. What are we doing? And are we going to have a higher risk to exposure when we think about what other aspects we're going to do, we're going to have to deal with when we yard this person out of this car, but the medic's not here because it's only going, it caps out at 83 miles an hour. And we're 40 miles down the road. And we got a 6 mile an hour head start per mile by having utility get there faster. So, there's limitations that we're dealing with that we might feel like, oh, well, and guess what? Rescue 41 that's actually doing the extrication or has all the big tools, they only go 64 miles an hour, period. And that's on the best road conditions, dry, easy, no traffic, no problems. So we might be 20 minutes ahead of them before we get our extrication apparatus on scene to do the stabilization and the heavy lifting and the heavy work that needs to happen because of the limited tools we carry in our utility and our rapid response vehicles. So some of the stuff we need to think about is communicated on those TAC channels. Dispatch doesn't alarm base 2, they don't need to hear that. They don't care about that. They want to know when we get on scene, when we get the patient, when the patient's moving, and where they're going, right? And when we get home safe and sound. They don't need the tiny little bits and pieces unless we need to put in timestamps, markers, and other things that we feel is pertinent, and that's normally a command decision to pass it off. Safety officers. We're all safety officers, yes. If we have the luxury in the personnel, it's great to have that one person doing the continual hot laps, the 360s, the head on the swivel, the looking the ups, the downs, and all the rounds. They're the ones that are going to be, and again, anybody can call an all stop at any time. Hey, stop, whistle blow, hands up, see what happens, right? If we need to do something to make sure that we are safe, this is how we can look at it and how we can communicate it. But that safety officer, if we have the luxury, again, a lot of agencies, a lot of departments don't have 38 people, 47 people like Anchorage Fire on these large incidents. We don't have that in the whole department, right? When we can get 3 people to 6 people on scene, 12 people on a big fire, we're doing great. We're doing a good job, and we actually have really effective effort at completing tasks, which is awesome. But the safety officer is one of those, if we get that extra personnel, if we have that time, if we have that bandwidth in that space, having that extra person, that's all they don't get their hands dirty. Everybody knows I love to get my hands dirty and I can get sucked in pretty easily. stepping back and saying, hey guys, watch, where's your eyes? Where's your ears? Where's your helmet? Right? All those things that we think about. Where's your high-vis jackets? We're on the highway, guys. Where's our lighting? Where's our safety buffers? Do we need blocking units? Can we get DOT to be a blocking unit? Can they bring out a big sand truck? You betcha. Right? Do we need to have, do we have extra resources in maybe our utility trucks that we can bring in closer and pull them away from blocking and say, I want you to help us because I need the equipment that you carry for all the extra pieces and parts. So, branches and groups. This is where we start talking about the incident command system. This is kind of building out. We are using Air Operations Group. An AOBD or an Air Operations Branch Director is a very specific skill and training set for coordinating and deconflicting airspace. We don't really do that much here, which is good. So the Air Operations Group might just be part of that medical group, that transport group, that might be down there saying, okay, we're going to coordinate rigs coming in and out, and they might have wheels or they might have rotors. An air operations branch or air operations group is very, very specific to very large incidents with multiple air assets. Yes, if we're bringing in a Jolly or a Sugar Bear or something from the military, if we get a CH-47, a big Chinook, double prop, can hold like 12 patients if they have it prepped out right, from the Army National Guard, phenomenal tool. We can get a lot of people moving very quickly. If you bring in the Chinook's the big one. If we bring in a Pavok, it's a phenomenal tool as well. A UH-60, they can carry up to 4 patients, depending, but really not that critical. More of the non-ambulatory style, but semi-stable. They also have some basic, capabilities and equipment. At least we still have in the PJ portion of the 210th, 12th, and the Triad there, they still have ALS capabilities, where Coasties are losing a lot of their BLS capabilities. And so working with the Coasties out in the more in the southeast area, that's now working with the local hospitals and local departments to grab one of their resources to then transport out for medical care. But again, Air Operations Branch Group. Air Operations Group, very specific. Normally only utilized when you have multiple air assets. This is also something that's great to kick over to a cop. Cops can talk on the radios really well. And they're also really good at securing parking lots, i.e. being a roadblock. So if we're not in the investigation phase of this kind of motor vehicle accident yet, there's always going to be some type of investigation phase that they'll have to be affiliated with. But if they're not needed, this is a great way to get them off your back a little bit and away from the scene. Like, hey, I have a great landing zone, a half mile up the road that we can transport and do hot laps in our medics to awaiting helicopters. Instead of me driving 53 miles to Providence, 53 miles to Providence, I can drive a half mile to a LZ, have guarding or life bed land, do a quick hot load, and they can be at the hospital in 11 minutes. That's amazing versus an hour. We've already lost our golden hour or golden window. We already that's just us getting on the scene. Let's be honest. We're already shooting from the hip on that one. So being able to get people out there, that's why helicopters are so important in Alaska. If we do have any large vehicle accidents south of the Tesoro, right, south of mile 90 Seward Highway, 36511 Seward Highway, if we go south of that location, we should be thinking about calling a helicopter, because we know at least every vehicle has one person in it. And if it's a 2-vehicle accident, and we only have 3 people on initially, 3 more people coming from home, our brothers and sisters from down south coming up to meet us, we might be overwhelmed very quickly with just those simple instances of a 2-vehicle accident. Yeah. So, air operations, call often, call early. You can always turn them around, and weather's your worst nightmare. So figuring out where our elevations are for our mountains, what we see. A lot of these resources now have night flying capabilities. They might not like it. It takes 3 to go. So they will agree to it. It's not us pressuring them. It's all on them. They'll say yay or nay. Extrication group. This might be the utility. This might be command. This might be a 2-man team. This might be a full truck company with a heavy rescue, with a safety officer and everything else all incorporated as the extrication group, depending on the situation. Utility 41 carries a combi tool. Phenomenal tool. You can pretty much do anything to a vehicle with that tool. He might do his initial 360, pass off triage, and start doing extrication. Again, this is that kind of working command idea, where until we get more resources, I can't take seated command, roll up my windows and say I don't want to do anything besides sitting here and talk on the radio. I might be tasked with actually getting my hands dirty, which I love to do, and I have no problem, but I also want to make sure as soon as I get the opportunity to pass that torch, give Captain Carson the job back in the seated command, and then I can go play and actually tear cars apart, we can actually get into that extrication group and make it happen. Okay. Did they usually put it in?
I knew.
Okay.
We got him roster.
Should I go back down? Okay, gotcha.
You're gonna be in.
Yeah, we're good. Awesome. Thank you. So with the extrication side of it, that is very specific. You can have I don't say multiple extrication groups, but you can assign them to divisions. And a division could be a vehicle. It could be a area of operation. It's the best way to think about for me for a division. That's going to give us the option to have multiple groups under one division for extrication. So we can work through that area. But again, extrication group is a function to tear and disentangle vehicles. Tear apart, disentangle a vehicle around a patient. So medical group. Medical group is going to be they're the doers at this point. They are the ones climbing in the back of the cars, figuring out what's going on. They might have done initial 360s, got their triage, so there's only three patients, 1 critical, 2 delayed, and now they're transitioning into treatment. One person might be assigned that medical group as the medical group supervisor doing all the medical stuff that they need to do, and as more rigs get there, they'll be assigned medic 42, rescue 42, report to medical group. And now, just like I was saying, that utility officer doing the extrication 360 and seeing size up control, they can start backing away. The medical group supervisor can start coming in there and saying, okay, I need 2 people to do medical care. You're assigned this patient. I need 1 more person to do a secondary triage. I need 1 more person to get equipment staged for transport priorities. We can get vehicles turned around if they haven't already been ready. We can get gurneys pulled out. We can get tarps laid down. We were going away from the idea of having a red, yellow, green tarp. People don't stay on them, first of all, and they change. So that's okay. When we say secondary triage, if we're using the surveyor's tape, which I love to use, rip off the old one and put a new one on. Because I don't know if the right hand was the first one, the left hand was the second one, or the left hand was the first one and the right hand was the second triage. Did they go red to yellow or yellow to red? Right? So that's one of the things we think about is when the triage unit is going around doing that primary and secondary, even tertiary triage, right? Because we might have enough time in a large situation, large mass casualty, and again, multi-victim incident. It might be a delayed time where we're staying in plane and holding on to these patients until we can get helicopters to be doing hot laps. It's going to take a solid hour per direction to get a patient there. So 2 hours. Hopefully they can flip the gurney on the way back as they're driving back somewhat expeditiously. If we know we still have more patients, we can still have them go in red and back red if necessary. There's options if we are running out of time. We've tapped all of our resources. We are now sitting on patients and doing long-term care in a austere environment, i.e. the Seward Highway. Welcome to Alaska, right? This is where that treatment unit might be long-term care. Long-term care is not 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes. We're talking 2 to 6 hours. Where we're now going back, we're passing the swelling curves. We're going into these areas where we have other considerations that we have to take care of with these patients. That might not just be that acute traumatic incident that happened. So we're going to talk a little bit about the roles here. Safety officer. So again, briefed by the incident commander. This is what we know. This is what we should anticipate. Fill in the blanks. The idea here is, again, anybody can prevent unsafe actions, right? Anybody can call an all stop. Only a few people can restart. Hey guys, all stop. Next thing we should say is, why stop? We've stopped, now why? Hey, this was about to fall on you, get out of the way. Vehicle is becoming unstable. We have an avalanche potential coming down that we didn't realize because we just looked up. We have hang fire options. We have, the train hit the avalanche, thank goodness. The avalanche didn't hit the train. So what are we dealing with? The hardest thing is the safety officer not becoming sucked in and getting involved. It's really easy to say, hey, give me a hand. As that safety officer, and again, if we have the capability and the manpower to say, yes, you are only safety, please just continually do 360s around the incident, stand back, give it a 20, 60-foot buffer, whatever you think is necessary, keep your eyes open and on a swivel. What happens then when we start saying, well, I need more hands? We are now hampering our tactical capabilities to complete our mission, our jobs, because we just took somebody out of the fight. So this is why I say it's dynamic. Yes, if we can put a safety officer in there, and we have that luxury and that personnel to say, we got all the hands we need, we're good, that's great. If there's times where we have to come and get involved, help do a patient move, right? Because I don't want to hurt myself and my buddy when I have a third person just watching me trying to move a very heavy patient. When I can put all 3 sets of our hands on that patient to move them, is that safer for everybody? Yeah. So that safety officer might have to have that decision-making capability to say, yeah, I can help in, I can jump in really quick, knowing that everything else is still kind of fluid around us and that we're working on it. So this is not always a hard and fast rule. There's nothing hard and fast about anything in EMS. Every patient's different. Every presentation, again, we just never say never because there's always going to be something that's going to throw a little curveball at you. So medical group, like we talked about, again, they're briefing the incident commander on what they found. That medical group supervisor might have their little mini-me, right? Their triage unit leader running up to them and say, hey boss, I got 4 patients and they're really, really, really bad. Well, the IC doesn't want to know that. The IC wants to know very specifics. I have 4 patients. I have 2 yellow, 2 red, requesting additional medical transport units. That's what IC needs to know, because the medical group guy says, hey, I got 4 patients. They're really bad, but this is the categories of bad that they are in. So, and again, that can change. Give it 5 minutes, give it 30 seconds. Did you stop the bleed or not? We all bleeding stops eventually. So, as we go through that medical group, they're going to basically delegate out the treatment and triage teams, right? If the triage is completed, can they form into that treatment team? Yeah. When that initial treatment's moving and like, hey, let's make sure we haven't missed anything else. Do a secondary triage. Do a tertiary triage, right? We got that treatment taken care of, all those reds. Well, we kind of stabilized them. They're between red and orange, right? They're kind of red and yellow, kind of orangey. Great. How are the yellows? Are they now red? How do we know that? Secondary triage.
In that situation, if
Yeah.
you have to switch somebody's color,
Yeah.
and you were saying that, like, initially you assign somebody color, rip it off
Mhm.
in your pocket. You don't have to put another one in your pocket, right?
So if you have comms, hopefully everybody has comms at this point.
Yeah.
For secondary triage, again, you're on a TAC channel. So medical group soup, triage unit leader, I have a yellow that I'm increasing to red.
Mhm.
So they have that count because they took all those little tags off. They said, oh yeah, no, we had 3 yellows.
Yeah.
Well, now I only have 2 and I have an additional red. That's where that again, being able to pull themselves back out when they have that luxury to make sure that they have the understanding, the idea to slow down, get that notepad out, stop writing on the back of their blue glove and a Sharpie that's going to get wiped on their forehead as soon as they get sweaty, understanding what they need to do and how they're going to account for it. Because when you change that one, then you look at everybody else. Secondary triage should also happen after patients have already been transported. So if we got those 3 reds out, but we know we have 6 more patients milling around, command might ask the medical group soup to say, hey, can you do a secondary triage for me? I want to know what we got. Did we find another patient? I was up in Turingan Pass one time, and some lady picked up this kid who was in the vehicle compartment of a fatality that I had no idea about until we were about to leave the scene. She's like, oh, by the way, I got some guy in my front seat. And she's like a half mile down the road with our flashers on. And we're like, we just turned around and met it because we thought we had everybody done. There's nobody else milling around. It was cold outside. It was snowing. It was dark. It was raining. Yeah, she put him in the front of her car and just left him there. I didn't know if he was alive, dead, breathing, not. She's out helping us. And then before we leave, it's like, hey, where's that secondary triage? We all, I don't think, get that tunnel vision, but we see what we have on our incident scene. We don't know that somebody got picked up and they're waiting at the base of the pass because that's where they got cell phone service to call 911. But then we go zipping by him because now all these critical patients are up top and this person's been waiting down there for 2 hours. And they just keep calling back to 911 saying, yeah, I just want to give you an update. We're still here waiting. And thank goodness we have the Alaska Land Mobile Radio System, the ALMR system, so we can actually talk to our dispatch centers now while we're up in Turingan Pass, where we would never had that option in the past. So communication and command, it's all expanding and contracting as the incident evolves. So back to medical group, understanding that there is time to delegate down different tasks, knowing that ideally, they don't get sucked into patient care. We do not need our most senior medic, our paramedics, our AK Advanced, our EMT3s being the medical group supervisor. We could have somebody that's really dialed in logistics or coordinating at their normal workday life with a piece of paper and a pencil as an EMT1 or an ETT or somebody that can take really good direction from an incident commander and be tied to their side, right? Because all they need to do is talk to their medical group, their medical team. And then, again, having that mentorship from the incident commander, being able to say, hey, where are we at here? They can reach out, but the IC does not have to focus on all that radio communication. He can get just what he needs from it. So again, don't think it's only going to be the senior ALS medic as the medical group supervisor. In the best world, the most senior person works their way through that process. It'd be great. But we're not, we might have somebody like we did a couple of weeks ago in that fire scenario, where we had some pretty new individuals that were BLS providers that were like, oh, what do? We brought the medic up, and now we have a fire victim that just got pulled out and dumped on our gurney. Well, that's when you lean over to command and be like, hey boss, we need some more help here. We are tapped out because we don't have the capability to treat this patient. What do we need to do? Then it's the commander's responsibility at that point to shuffle things around, to say we need to put the right people in the right spots for patient care and positive outcomes. So, like I was talking about earlier with air operations, going south on the Seward Highway from Tesoro, or the Speedway gas station at this point, Mile 90 Seward Highway, if we can get an air asset launched when we leave, at times they beat us to the scene, especially Granite Creek area, a little past Turnagain, those areas. They've been at a pullout or been circling overhead, saying, oh yeah, I know, we see it. We can have great comms with them. And they can give us the same size up from the air, which is pretty cool. And then we can just shut down the highway. They can land down, and we can put the patient right into their gurney. We can roll ours right from the medic, pick them out, throw them on there, take it right over. They can load it up, start up, and take off. So knowing that we can always launch LifeMed or Guardian, we can request their assistance, right? If it's flyable weather, if they have the capability, they are more than happy to launch and get up there, and they're a phenomenal resource to think about while we're en route. But like I said before, call early, call often. We want to make sure we can get the resources coming, because if we get on scene, we're behind that curve. and we're already going to be playing catch up. So under the medical group, we talked about triage again. We love that simple triage and rapid transport. Start 32 can do for adults, a little bit of a modification for pediatrics, a little faster issues for breathing and so forth. We think about, I always look at appearance for peds. How are they appearing to me? What are they tracking and working? Again, are they crying out for mom, or are they limp and lifeless, being held out as they're rushing to us? So as we look through this one with the triage, the biggest thing again is report the number of patients and their status. That triage unit leader is going to report it up the chain. They're going to say, "Hey boss, this is what we have. This is where I think we're working on," and they're going to go through and they're going to monitor that. They're going to follow the chain of command. They're going to provide ongoing primary, secondary, tertiary type of triage assessments because people change. Stress reactions are real. People can come down and now all of a sudden realize that their leg is broken, but they've been running around on it because they're trying to find their child. And all of a sudden they just collapse down on the ground. There's a lot of things that we can miss if somebody's super jacked up because they just went head on with a moose, and the moose is now in their lap. But somehow they're alive. So treatment, again, once we know what we have, we can start trying to fix the problem. But we want to fix the problems that we can fix as fast as possible. So let's put the resources to the patients that we can fix. Like I was saying, if somebody's not breathing and we try to do that quick adjustment of their airway and they still are not breathing, I'm not doing CPR. I'm not trying to do some compressions. I'm not bringing out a Lucas. I'm not bringing out an easy vent. I'm not going to hook him up and just let him go and walk away. And that's not triage. That's not treatment. I can't get sucked into one patient when there's 3 others I can treat quickly and save their lives. Hospital destinations. There are times where it might be faster to send the patient south. We might not be able to drive to Anchorage. What caused the vehicle accident? Was it an earthquake that took out the bridges and dropped a whole bunch of rocks? How do we know? Well, because we probably had to raise the doors on the station manually, and hopefully the generator kicked in. But all these things are variables. So helicopters are great, but they can't fly all the time. Bad weather is pretty common. We might be at the 54 junction for Hope. That's difficult. We might have a massive bus that went off from Holland America Princess by Summit Lake. Well, guess what? I'd be more than happy to go help Cooper Landing, Moose Pass, all day long. 54, 45, 48 patients. Think about the geriatrics we'd see that day. It'd be amazing, right? How many people just came off a cruise ship from Seward or Whittier and now going somewhere down the Seward Highway, bus rolls over on its side, heaven forbid, goes into the water at Summit Lake, or just hopefully onto the side into the ditch. Well, what are we dealing with? Unrestrained old folks.
Not reasonable, that.
It's okay. At least you're not on a tour bus right now. But the idea, though, is that we have options to provide really good care. How many of them do you think are on Coumadin? I.e. blood thinners. Just think of that. They might not be really that actually traumatically injured. The trauma's going to be from the blood splatter because everybody's on blood thinners.
Oh, yeah.
That could be a problem just in itself of what we're dealing with. And so knowing that there's limited resources and we all need to work together is the part of how this treatment comes into play. They might just be a whole bunch of yellows, but does 5 yellows still overwhelm us? Yeah. Even though we can have, one sitting in the CPR seat, one sitting in the airway seat, we got one on the gurney, we got one, where am I sitting? Hopefully I'm not just standing, I'm still secured, right? But how can we treat 3 patients in the back of a medic? Oh, hang on, we have the passenger seat. There's somebody up there still, hopefully the driver's keeping an eye on them. But and then we're calling for medic meet so we can unload half of them, hopefully, at that medic meet to say, hey, guess what? We got 5 patients, you're getting 2. because I can't take anymore. And then, or that medic meet might be more critical for them to go further down. And so this is where it's the idea of the treatment is we are assisting the rescue group with removal. We might start IVs inside the vehicle as it's getting torn apart. That's awesome. To be under the blanket, under the tarp, starting IVs, controlling pain, monitoring the patient, and reassuring them with, again, protective measures that we have from hard and soft protection that we're going to get them out and we're going to get them to the help. We're doing the best we can with what we've been given. So when we think about hospital destination obtained from the medical group supervisor, the medical group sup might be reaching out to IC or dispatch directly and saying, hey, what's the hospital status? The Anchorage Fire Department does a really good job of doing a hospital all call. They can get basically a surge capacity. Hospitals can start decompressing certain areas. They can start discharging patients quicker. They can start opening up different rooms. Say, hey, we are an hour out. We have 7 trauma alerts coming your way. You want to think about the sheer panic on a house supervisor's face when you say that to them on a phone call. But the idea of how many can you take? Providence can take 2. Regional can take, regional's not trauma. We'll take all the other non-trauma. ANMC can take 6. Let's give them 3 and give 6 to Prov. Whatever else you needed, however else it's going to be divvied out. That's the support we can get from our dispatch system to say, hey, medical group soup, when you're looking at the treatment side, these are where you should start sending your patients. Because they can start figuring out how these hospitals are going to take this surge of high acuity, high need individuals for definitive care treatment. So, extrication group, rescue group. These are the people that hopefully can operate the tools, get the scene safe, to make sure that they have a primary, secondary, emergency plan. If that medical group treatment unit leader, or a EMT working under that division, is saying, "Hey, my patient's crashing," who do they tell? They tell the rescue extrication group, "You need to go faster." Right? They're the ones in there that poke their head out from underneath that white blanket or the blue tarp or whatever else we're using. We don't have Titan anymore, thank goodness. But the idea is hard to see blood. The idea, though, that we can poke our head out and say, "Hey guys, he's going downhill. Let's go to emergency pole." Right? We're taking him through the front windshield. We're taking him out the side. You're going too slow on this door peel. Like, he's going down. We need to move now. That's the call of the treatment team to the rescue group with that really good two-way communication. They don't need to get up on a radio and go all the way up to the top of the chain and all the way back down to the IC. They have that informal communication between those teams, between the groups in that division there. Again, division being that scene that, hey, medical group, rescue group, patient's crashing, code blue, whatever you want to call it. We got to move. That's where we start coming in, that they have to work in conjunction while removing the patients for the best possible outcome of that team. If they go, hey, patient just crashed, patient is now unconscious, not breathing, no pulse, where's secondary triage? Do we, at this point, abandon this effort and move our resources to an effort that is more successful or has a higher potential of being more successful? If we still have more patients that are not being treated, that need to be treated, yeah, we might pull them out. Hey, pop out. I got another patient beside you, and I need you to start working on. We thought they were yellow. They're now red. This one just went black. We now need to keep going. So secondary, tertiary triage is the continuation. Again, like I talked about, air operation group. This is great for law enforcement, given the assignment to secure the parking lot. Here's their radio channel. They can tell the helicopter everything they think they need to know. One of the things helicopters will really want is patient information. Height, weight, and what is happening to them. So very quick information, because they need to figure out if they have to dump fuel, if they have to, there's things that they have to think about. Is that patient more than 6'4"? Again, we don't know that. Everybody lies on their driver's license. We understand it. So even if we could find the driver's license, we probably shouldn't take too much into it. But the idea, though, is will they fit in the helicopter? So, control landing zone, coordinate for the takeoff. If we have LZ lights and flagging and kits for wind direction, if we want to pop smoke, coordinating that with the helicopter. Please don't just pop orange smoke and think that's going to be helpful. Especially if you're upwind and it's going to completely block and obscure their vision as they try to land. They're going to pull out and basically hover until that's all gone, but at least they have a good idea where the wind is. It might have just delayed your transport, though, by a minute or two. So again, knowing your equipment and what you're dealing with. Assist the treatment team with patient loading, right? So if we have the luxury of having a whole bunch of people and say, ha, congratulations, you're the air operations branch, or you're going to be the air ops group, I need you to set up the LZ. I need you to stay at the LZ, secure the LZ, make sure there's no cats, dogs, random ferrets, whatever running through it. Not my problem. I need you to make sure that is nice and secure and tight. Nobody in, nobody out, besides helicopters. Cool. Okay. So KPB East, phenomenal channel for operating with helicopters and everybody on the Kenai Peninsula. That is great for us, especially, again, east of Soldotna. But the idea here is that's a common channel. That might be overwhelmed with command. We might need to ask for a specific channel. If it's getting to that point, if the incident's that big, if we still have resources rolling in, if Bear Creek's getting called for a tender, because we need additional fire suppression support or something, and they're coming all the way up to the pass, we might have a helicopter on scene before they get there. So knowing that we might have to pull that channel away, there's the central zones, which is for all interoperability. Phenomenal resource. KPB East, tried and true. We know it works. Everybody can talk on it. It might be busy. Our Girdwood main channel, that's a phenomenal one. Anchorage Fire loves to hear some updates once in a while, especially if we're up in the pass. When we've gone over to KPB East and we're not talking to the Anchorage dispatch anymore, they get lonely. They really do. They like to know what's going on once in a while. They don't have KPB East on their channel, or at least they don't know how to turn it on and listen to it yet. So the idea, though, is how do we communicate with helicopters and what works? We know they have KPB East. We know they have Central Maine. But there might be something else designated by the incident commander because they say, hey, we need another attack channel. That KPB mutual aid might be a great one for it. We might move other things around. And that's the dynamic nature of an incident, which is really fun. That's where we should all relish in that unknown, because it's always going to be different, and we can always find some excitement in knowing that we're going to be challenged to figure out how it's going to work and how we can communicate that information better. Okay, so Lieutenant Ferntile put together a Kahoot. I'm going to see if I can pull this one up for you guys if you're online as well. Kahoot is a online interactive multiple choice game that gets somewhat competitive. So if you guys would like, I will transition over to that here in just a second. It's been a little over an hour. I want to say thank you so much for hanging on, especially with the little distraction we had here. But we'll move right into the Kahoot, and I will try to get that pulled up. Oh, there it is. Okay, so there's going to be a pin loading. Please, if you guys can go to kahoot.it on your phone. The game pin is a 7-digit number now. It used to be 6, 7-digit number. You guys can put the game pin in, and that will allow you to put a name. Please make it clean. And we will start when everybody's in. Okay, guys, one more minute. We'll get everybody in. And we'll start this off. I got 14 people so far. Thank you. Nope, I lost one. Okay, here we. Yep, there we go. Okay, guys, we'll get moving here. So this is going to basically come up. We'll have a question. You'll get 4 options. Click the button on your phone, and we'll move forward. The colors don't match the words.
I know.
Just want to make sure everybody's aware of that one.
It's a little tricky there.
You have to read the word. It can be difficult.
This is a reading class. That was a good catch.
Learn from past experience.
Yes, I've definitely learned. Anna's very good at doing that. All right, 3 seconds. I think we got 14 people in. Here we go. Okay, so apneic pulseless. They are, at this point, dead. So that's a black. Yeah.
I hope the red green was
So I will give you a, I don't say pass on this one, but it does not say ambulatory. So that is a deciding factor between myself personally, between green and yellow. If they were not ambulatory, i.e. not moving when this was size, you could go, it could be you could challenge probably. But I'm glad everybody was going between green and yellow. Good job. And then nobody said red. So.
And somebody thought they were dead.
That's we'll skip that. Well, that's a mulligan. That's a mulligan.
That's a color.
So again, this is situational dependent if we have the personnel available.
I think there should be facilities. Not pump.
I mean, you need to know what exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, oh. That mean bilateral lower extremity fractures?
I don't know. Could be multiple fractures on the same extremity. All I would read into that one is non-ambulatory.
I was between two.
Mm-hmm. So that's a great. I mean, it's a really good question on this one. The idea is AO times 3. Can they follow simple commands? That's where I'd be going back and forth on. If they are able, if they're already ANO times 3, I feel they could follow simple commands. So I'd be leaning more towards yellow. Then if they weren't ANO, they're ANO times 1. If they were lower, I would say mentation, then I'd be a little bit more concerned about that, and I'd probably go red.
What would be the besides the ANO times 3 versus 4?
Mm-hmm. So that's less than 30 for respiratory.
Oh,
What
less
would
than
everybody's initial trigger be by seeing that?
Yeah.
Besides the ANO times 3, what's your next like kind of loop factor?
The respiratory rate.
30. I was waiting about the blood, but I don't know what came from.
I would say the blood would probably
Like,
be
is
the one
it
that would
inside or
get
outside?
people's attention. I don't get super distracted by that is what I'm
Okay.
trying to get at.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it,
There's one that just came up.
it could be bleeding for you.
Yeah, and again, the scalp bleeds a lot. We know that. So we have, especially with safety glass, there's a lot of opportunities to get some type of small lacerations. Some of the stuff will have distractions in it. That's okay. That's also why we have secondary triage, right? If we're going through quickly, like I was saying, we want to be 30 seconds. See that page, see what's going on. Couple quick questions. 32 can do. Yes, yes, yes. Move on. It's that. We want to figure out who we can save the fastest and how many people we can help with the least amount of resources. So going between green and yellow, I'm in the same boat. If they are extricated, can they walk around? Can they currently walk around right now? No, because they're stuck. So I think that is, again, that's that toss-up. It's your own personal perspective of what you're going to be dealing with. That's why secondary and tertiary triage, like I've been beaten down here, is important. They might come out and all of a sudden they just got a big release of some really old static blood because they got some impingements going on we didn't realize. All of a sudden they come up and they crash with some cardiac dysrhythmias, right? We might have something in here that causes something else. They might be screaming, great airway, woohoo! Am I concerned when they go quiet? Oh yeah, right? That's that like that aha little pucker factor moment. Like, oh, what's going on? When the silence hits, and we just have all that noise, that change is those red flags. Good job, guys. Think about Jumpstart, pediatric. So screaming, minor lacerations, respiratory rate 30, which is again normal range for pediatric, moving all extremities. They could be compensating 100%. They could. And by this point, am I that concerned right now? No. Is there any arguments for yellow on this? Who has that? Because maybe they're being held, not walking around, not running around.
But the respiratory rate's 30.
Exactly. It's pediatric. We're good, right? 45. There you go.
And remember, adult, that would have been like
Yeah,
criteria. That's good throw you.
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
He knew that.
Colors, read. Again, I'm seeing this for the first time as well. Read the red is not red. The yellow is actually yellow on this one. Go figure. But black is not black.
There's one green up there. It's me.
So we see the respiratory rate gave it away. Again, tricky question. Yeah.
Good or not.
So in general, again, this is the ideal world. If we had all the people that we could.
What does that mean?
When does that happen? When does that happen? That's a very funny question. But the idea, though, is the safety officer can stand away and keep that situational awareness. So yeah, good job, guys.
Tuesday night MVA.
Yeah, so Tuesday night MVA where we have 30 people on, that'd be phenomenal.
Safety officer, Rebecca.
Dang it, I'm still.
Correct. So geographic. So divisions are geographic, groups are functional, branches are both. I think the fun thing about this is being able to argue it in all different ways. You're never going to have all the information. So it's make a decision and move on. Just like we're seeing here, what do we see? Are they A&O, so they're confused, right? Can they follow simple commands? No. So great job on catching the red. But they're A&O times 1. They know who they are. Okay, but they're still confused. Well, how confused are they? Doesn't matter. Keep it simple, make a determination, and move. That's the biggest thing is make that determination, continue. Determination, continue. Then repeat. Secondary, tertiary, until everybody's taken care of. So might have a weak radial pulse, but we don't get to that check until after the airway is complete, right? So not to say we're going to go in the weeds, but if we check the airway, they're not breathing, we reposition it. If they don't breathe again, they're black. No, these are fun. We know it's
Green? What?
Doesn't feel very great.
doesn't feel very green.
Challenge.
So-
Challenge.
One more time?
It's a challenge.
I'm challenging that one.
Exactly. Yep. So the challenge on this one, again, if you think about what's the possible considerations in secondary triage. Could this just have been a nick of the stomach? Right? Could this just been a grazing blow? Did it hit the descending,
But did it hit the aorta?
exactly. Do we know that?
Anyway,
We don't have so respiratory rate 20. They can answer questions. We don't know if their pulses are compromised, but they're alert and oriented enough to answer questions. That's a good thing, right? That's like they got the perfusion to the brain is still there. So distracting injury. Outside of that one, that's where this one would come into the challenge of, yeah, I want to take care of them. I'm at least, personally, I would say at least yellow would be my initial assessment. I see GSW of the stomach, they're alert and oriented at this point, yellow, moving on. I'm gonna keep coming back. If they were not answering questions appropriately, if there was something else going on, I would 100% put them in more of that red category. But again, I'm not at this point lifting the shirt. I'm not doing a lot of discovery in triage.
this is unfortunately the most basic level of triage.
Yes.
And this person, unfortunately, gets green.
I mean, that's the argument.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
there is personal bias added to every triage situation, which is another thing to think about is have somebody else do a secondary. Don't use the same person.
Right.
Give it to somebody else to do. As you get more resources on, that person that did initial might be taking care of patient care and treatment. Next one in, hey, you're new here. You haven't seen anything. Go do a triage for me. See if you can find something I missed. Find that patient half mile down the road in a vehicle. Right? Ask people, is there anybody else out there? Because I might not have yelled out to those walking wounded over hanging out by not the cop car, because they all ran away from the cop car, over by the fire truck, to say, hey, does anybody know of any other patients here? Is anybody else involved in this vehicle? Oh yeah, I was in the back seat. How many times have we got that one? You're like, oh, what? How are you walking around that vehicle is mangled? Oh, I climbed out the back window.
Or is ejected.
Or I was ejected and I hit the mud flats, thank God the tide was out. I'm a little dirty. You got a towel? What is going on? So, yes, I appreciate the challenge. Thank you. You did it again?
Yes.
Slow down. Colors are not the same as the words.
So distracting.
I know, I just went straight to red.
The same,
So
the
distracting.
words in the same spot. They don't move around.
Yeah.
Next.
She said that the next question is going to come.
That's right at the end, on the island over there.
Great job, guys. That 4-second cap refill is a good trigger.
I wonder who get the red one.
Yeah, if I really got that.
So the idea here is we might have to stay and play, right? What is a short time period? Well, that's a very ambiguous statement, right? The idea is we might not have that luxury to get people out as quickly as we want. So we've been overwhelmed. We're going to overwhelm hospitals, and we're going to and we can't do with what we currently have. Just for point of reference, that is not me.
I figured Mr. Keyboard.
I'm just trying to figure out what buttons to click.
Yeah, it's no problem.
Okay.
They just say,
Transfer complete.
Yeah.
you should probably- okay.
I do like the name though. It's just one.
Yeah. I think the answer to this is you don't want me triaging people.
Good job.
Right, check it out.
No, I think something actually cut out. It's still sheet, to be honest. Now that I
Yeah,
think about
that's
it.
a little.
Yeah. So apologize for that. I was just thinking about that flow sheet. There's a nice little yellow box at the very bottom of those triangles that go all the way down. So again, this was unable to walk, so we're not green, but we're within the normal respiratory rate, palpable pulses, and spoken to. So neurological is intact. So the yellow.
I need to come closer. So it's just like for decoration.
Not just decoration. Nice job, guys.
Last one.
Last one. Here we go.
I joked. We talking about 30-year aspiration for around the cusp.
So on the cusp, yeah. What's your take on that?
I feel like 24 weeks pregnant should push it over.
I yeah, that's gonna.
Is it 30, 31? Is it 29? What's this 30 mean? And again, this is when you go back through, this is a rapid, fast assessment.
And the other thing is there's no no time, whatever on there, so that doesn't help your decision making.
It doesn't.
She can't
If
be.
you had that information, it might help a bit.
Yep. Can't walk. Respiratory is 30.
I mean,
Abdominal pain.
I should have a baby anyways, so that her baseline is 28. No kidding.
That's a geriatric pregnancy, actually. So.
Very close.
Okay. So again, it's the idea here is 32 can do. So, is it less than 30? Yes or no? I don't say we're splitting hairs, but we are.
We're split respirations.
We're split respirations. And did you really take 60 seconds to count all 30, or did you take 10, double, add times it by 6, do 15 times 4? I mean, we're trying to be there within 30 seconds at the patient's side. How is 30 fast or slow, and could they have just read one more that little bit of time that you didn't catch? So, considering the patients overall, look at the big picture here, guys. What else are we worried about? This is that fast 30-second, get that snapshot of that person. This guides it. 32 can do. You move to the next one.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, even you mentioned like pregnancy is going to push you over, but also
It doesn't answer the.
you're not going to do anything about that. The baby's in there.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, I mean, we want to get care, but
Yep.
If I made my decision to be the first, the other transfer.
first out. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I like the commit.
Great job, guys.
Nice.
Woo!
Yes.
Well done.
All right, so I'm going to go back to Teams. One of the things, sorry for the chaos in the beginning here. I'm going to, we have actually some people online here that are from other agencies. Thank you. I'm not familiar with everybody, I'll be honest. And I'm glad to see we have everybody that was able to participate today. As you can tell, we did have that cardiac arrest that ran out with the crew. So Anna was not here to run the show, but that's the best part of being in emergency services. You got to step up and get thrown into something you're not expected, i.e. a triage. If we can go around the room quickly, I know I have a couple people from the Girdwood Fire online as well. If you guys are willing, I'll just read off your name real quick, and you guys can do a quick introduction of who you are. And we can kind of wrap things up here with a little bit of introduction from us. We'll talk about our triage cards and what we have planned here for the next couple weeks. Connor Gamache is the first one on top of the list here. Connor, a quick introduction from you.
Hey, my name's Connor. I'm a ALS provider and lieutenant here at Girdwood. Been on the department for 12 years and still digging it.
Thank you, Connor. Next up, I have Rachel.
There, this is Rachel. I work at Cooper Landing and I volunteer at Moose Pass. Currently hoping to get my EMT 2 in the next 2 weeks. Thank you so much for the invite.
Oh, awesome and welcome. Ale.
Hi, I'm Ale. I am a still probie at Girdwood Fire, but not for long, hopefully. Yeah.
Thanks so much. Christy.
I'm Christy Peterson from Hope, and I used to work at Girdwood 20 years ago. And yeah, I'm an EMT2 over here in Hope.
Awesome, Christy. Thanks so much, Santa Travis. Lauren.
Hi, I'm Lauren. I volunteer over in Cooper Landing, and I'm just CPR trained probationary for now. Thanks for the invite.
Oh, welcome. Zach Whittier.
Hey, Zach Overmeyer, Lieutenant EMT3 with Whittier Fire, also a captain for Chugiak Fire.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, buddy. Lee. Oh, we might not be hearing you, Lee. Sorry. Looks like you unmuted yourself. Nope, mute's back on. Thanks for joining us, Lee. That Shauna?
Hi, I'm Shauna Holden with volunteer with Cooper Landing, and I'm an ETT.
Awesome. Welcome, Shauna. And then Josh Hurd.
Josh with Girdwood, and I'm paramedic, and I'm working on getting back to Girdwood more often.
Thanks, Josh. Okay, guys. Well, again, welcome and thank you for participating and listening to this training tonight, all about triage. Again, my name is Manch Garhart. I'm the deputy chief. We have a few people in the room here if you want to go around real quick. Hopefully you guys will be able to see us in a couple weeks if you're able to make it down for the in-person training. When we do the large scenario, we'll start right here.
I'm Jack. I'm a probationary member here.
I'm Rebecca. I've been here for 3 years.
Chief?
Hi, Michelle Weston, Group Fire.
Jeff Dobson, I've been around a while.
In the back?
Jason, probationary, Girdwood.
I'm Devin, been here for about 2 years.
Jonathan, been here about a year.
Chris Carson, 16 years.
Awesome. We got two crews going out right now working a transport. So we'll have hopefully more people in the next couple of weeks. One of the last things I want to talk about and show you guys is some of our triage kits that we use. So we have, for everybody online and for those that are in the room, basically a simple fanny pack style kit that has 4 ribbons that get pulled out. I can bring this up to the camera as well. So we have very simple ribbons on the side. We have a black and white tape because black is hard to see at night. So adding a little stripe to it works really well. Black and red go together on the far side, and then our green and yellows on the opposite. In the front, we also have a pull-out where we can do a triage tracking. So we have basically our initial color codes. We have Sharpies, and then we have the fancy triage tags if you want to get to secondary, primary, secondary, and tertiary. This also gives us the cheat sheet for start triage. Pull out one of these. You guys want to take one, take one of those and pass them around. There's 50 tags normally in a packet. And so this has our start triage on it where we can go down to our green, black, red, and yellow. Again, we can tear off the bottom. Like I was talking about earlier, you'll have the ability to take off the tag below what they want. So if they are a yellow patient, you'll take off the initial green tag. If they have any demographics, you can fill it out on the top section there for age, name, date of birth, address, phone number, so forth. If there's any type of concern and contamination, if this becomes a hazmat incident, if they are exposed to anything, we can make notes there. That is huge for the hospital. When we talk about gross decontamination, cross-contamination, exposure, we might be exposed on the scene, but that doesn't mean all the nurses and doctors have to get the same exposure that we just got. So, knowing that we can go through this, we can actually look through. It does have a DCAP BTLS if you want to go back through all the deformities, contusions, abrasions, punctures, lacerations, swelling, tenderness, and so forth. All those fun little things we can check boxes on, and we can highlight on these tags as well. So if you're going through and you're trying to figure out what's wrong with the person, you can say they have a deformity, and you circle their arm. Or you put a big X on their body somewhere. And then you check the box. That's very easy. It's something that it might change. There is a place to put vitals on these as well. So if you have the time in a secondary triage situation, and you still have an alert and conscious patient that's able to answer questions, oh my God, is it nice to be able to get some basic information on this, put it over their neck, and let them have that go with them for that information. Yes, we have the new image trend program for patient documentation reporting that we can snap driver's licenses and add new patients and other things. We're not there yet. We're not we're not there yet by any means of being able to run around with a tablet and try to do triage. 30 seconds. Secondary might be a minute or two. We might spend a little bit more time figuring out what's actually going on, asking some questions, filling out some information, not just ripping out a piece of colored ribbon and saying, congratulations, you get a bracelet. Or a new toe tag, a new ankle wrap, right? Depending on whatever we can reach. We are not at the point of tracking patients anywhere appropriate, I believe, in the state of Alaska. I'm just going to say that in general.
So true.
The hospitals are horrible. Anchorage Fire Department's even worse. We're nowhere close either.
We never implemented what we were supposed to do. It never worked.
Everybody had great ideas. There was this salamander system they tried to use for scanning barcodes and IDs and creating bracelets and like all this stuff. We have not figured out how triage should really happen as a unified system in EMS.
We know how to do it. It's too expensive.
Yes, the right way, the wrong way. There's a different way. There's 4 ways to pick something. You get more money, more time, more people, and we can never figure out which ones to give. But the idea here, though, again, is we have to figure out how to manage where people are going. And that's why that medical group supervisor is so important, because they help work with the transport portion of getting patients away. The incident commander is thinking about everybody else's safety, all the other things going on. Where's the tow truck? They have so many other things they're concerned about right now. They can't really manage where the 6-year-old boy went to. They don't know what, they hope the IC might not know what car they came out of. They might know there's a 6-year-old child on scene that's being treated and transported shortly. Medical group supervisors are the ideal individuals to say, car number 1, car number 2, car number 3, patient 1, 2, patient 3, 4, 5, patient 6, 7, 8. Patients 1, 2, 3 grouped together, one family unit. We are requesting them all being transported to Providence Hospital. However, this kind of this organization unfolds, it's very dynamic because we never know how many people can be in a car. I gave the excursion example. 8, 9 people half of them crawling up over the side of the inlet, up onto the Seward Highway, over the barrier rocks, over the guardrail, crying.
Even the Suburban Whittier had 9 people in Suburban who went over the.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. I mean, Suburban, unrestrained, ejections, whatever else going on. Like, what are we dealing with? How half of them walked away because they don't want to be late for work. They left the scene.
I mean,
right? So again, all these things come together. The biggest thing I want to take away here for you guys is figure out what your agency's triage tags and/or system looks like. As I've kind of been harping on, everybody does it differently and everybody has a different idea about it, but 32 can do is the baseline for that simple determination of a color. START is kind of the more universal side of it, but the tracking and how we document and how we actually identify it is the variable. Most people understand what a black, green, yellow, red can mean. It's what's delayed, what's immediate, minor and deceased. Those are the outliers on the far sides. We want to deal with the yellows and the reds. Cops can deal with the greens. Cool. Questions online? I'd love to take some. We have a little bit of time here. What do you guys have for us?
Hey, I got a quick question regarding Jumpstart pediatric triage. If you got a child who's perhaps inpatient in its parents' arms or something, refusing to walk, not can't, we just don't know because it will not tolerate being put down. Do you have an alternative triage method, or how do you sort that kid?
So if there's no other distracting injuries or concerns with that child, I would take it green until it changes. Would be my my take on that one. Cap?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Zach.
Where'd you get those triage kits? We're probably going to have some end of the year money, and right now we really don't have anything nearly like that, and that is exactly what I'm looking for.
Perfect. DMS triage is the. Again, I'm not. There's no conflicts of interest. Yada yada yada. I'm not paid by anybody. I just like to play. I do like to go shopping once in a while. But no, DMS triage is my preferred method personally. They have simplified triage tags. They have more complicated hazmat style triage tags, and they also have the kits. So that is the if there's somebody who's going to ask for a personal recommendation, that's what I would have.
Sweet, thank you.
They're not as expensive. Yeah, no worries, man. If you need a secondary option, Conterra. That would be my other agency I'd recommend for triage equipment. They have a nice little black fanny pack as well. So,
awesome. Thank you.
Oh, no worries.
And then don't forget about, for very few circumstances, we do carry spray paint.
Yeah.
In the utility 41. So if you have to start like labeling vehicles, things get complicated. The white vehicle up there.
Hey, I'm just making sure you got my text message with this patient. Yeah, and the family's out in the waiting room.
So spray painting vehicles, you guys identifying it. If you are doing the initial scene size up as an incident commander, somebody coming in, or as that triage, taking the bright orange upside down paint and throwing a number on a hood of a vehicle.
Okay.
As much as we might lift hoods up, the side of the door of hopefully the undamaged side that's not going to get torn off, or marking, if you think about like a DOT placard, do all four sides. Glass gets broken pretty easily. Doors get torn off pretty easily. Front quarter panels work really well.
Spray paint the ground.
Spray paint the ground if you need to as well. Especially if you have, again, think outside the box. We do carry, I think, 2 to 3 cans of upside down orange spray paint just for that reason. Grease markers are great, but again, it's hard to see a black grease marker on a black car. Orange pretty much sticks out on almost everything. There's very few orange cars running around there that are 100% orange, maybe a Subi once in a while. It is Girdwood, but still. Yeah, no, definitely other options. What else?
You may have talked about this while I was gone, but the first incoming ambulance very well is not going to go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
With this, the whole like stay and play thing is real. It is a hard decision to make.
Yep.
I've had to do it a few times, but it provides a better benefit for everybody on scene, and use that resource to stabilize and triage to the best of your ability. And then when you get more resources, get people out, and then when there's enough resources, hopefully, then you can use that transport unit to move people.
And along with that, if you are that first departing ambulance, think about what gear you can leave behind. Do they need additional backboards? Do they need additional jump kits? The nice thing about for us is our jump kit that we carry is kind of a standalone, what we need outside the medic rig, but we have everything in that kit in the back of the medic rig. We shouldn't have to open up that kit to get really anything that we need to treat that patient while we're transporting. So in theory, if we already had multiple patients that we're going to need other types of treatment, leave the equipment that you can there. Granted, everybody's going to hoard every life pack possible to take automatic vitals. But we carry spare equipment on those rigs for a reason.
The life pack thing, we were on an MCI with double fatalities and other patients. One ambulance life pack got stolen by somebody else, and the medic had to transport a fairly critical patient with no life pack, and they were less than happy.
Sure, but we have to be good at taking manual vitals. We know the life pack's great for monitoring cardiac rhythms. We know we can get other information. We can still get SpO2 off a finger sensor. We know we can get basic information without having that, as much as we love to rely on it. But knowing that we have other tools to get similar data, minus cardiology, but we treat the patient, not the monitor. And that's one of the things we still look at. So, or we might have an ambulance show up and the monitor's not working, right? That happens as well. Batteries die, things break. We don't catch something on a morning check, that can happen as well. Or it just gets left behind on the side of the road. I don't want to say that's happened before, but I think it has. So, what else do we got? Next week. So yeah, sorry, Dobson.
Not to get down in the minutia,
Mhm.
but if we've got the accident fairly close to the railroad line,
Mhm.
of contacting dispatch to notify Alaska Railroad
Yep.
or to inquire, when's the train coming through? I've seen 2-mile trains on Tuesday night going home, and they make a lot of racket, a lot of vibration as well, especially if it would be passing
Yep.
through an accident scene.
So the other thing is the railroad has to inspect the tracks before they allow a consist or a set of cars to go through after there's been a impact to that area. So that's one of the things that we do work and our dispatch is pretty dialed in on, is notifying the railroad when we are close or working in proximity to it. So they either stop or hold train traffic. If we're going through the tunnel, Zach might be able to talk a little bit more about that one. If there is a large incident in there, the difficulty in accessing it, then also reopening it, right? Besides just bringing in all the heavy wreckers and everything else, we need to pull something to pull vehicles apart after we get the disentanglement and all the patients out. We might not be able to get through. It might take them a while. So just like us, when there's a fatality accident investigation, we might be stuck coming back from the hospital in that traffic because they have the whole thing shut down for 3, 4, 6 hours to do all their documentation and survey. And they won't let anybody, even us, drive through. Zach?
Yeah, if you want, I can just do a quick little once over of the tunnel. It's fairly simple now.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. Go for it.
Yeah, so if we do have a major incident here, obviously you are 100% going to be our first call, is getting you guys rolling, because we've only got 2 ambulances, and at any given time, usually we can only staff one of them. Usually the second one's going to be BLS. So if we declare an MCI or we have any sort of major incident, I'm going to contact the tunnel and I say, hey, I need you to leave it inbound only. And they're going to open it inbound, especially if we have a fire or something like that. We're going to be calling for the tunnel fire department as well to come help us. If they can staff one engine for us and still leave the tunnel in normal operations, and if they have to staff a second engine for us and they shut down the tunnel completely and leave just the operator in there, and then the operator is the one that's just going to let traffic go back and forth. So Awesome. It's just going to be a matter of talking to the tunnel. And I believe we are going to be getting the tunnel dispatch channel onto your guys' radios with that newest update, so you guys be able to talk directly with them.
Yeah, we're excited about that as well.
Yeah. So yeah, it's we've got things pretty streamlined with the tunnel now. They work incredibly with us right now, so it's going to be great. And actually tomorrow, if we do need it, the tunnel's closed for 2 hours tomorrow for their own MCI drill.
Awesome. I know Chris Lau's really rocking and rolling down there with them stepping in, so that's great.
Yeah. Thank you.
No worries. Okay, so for the next 2 weeks, we're going to continue this training. We're going to be talking about vehicle stabilization, basic extrication, I believe, next week. That's the plan. We're going to talk about vehicles on wheels, vehicles on their side. So we're not going to go into really complex multi-hazard options, but most vehicles will find on their wheels in some fashion, or on their side. And so that's going to be kind of the initial stabilization process we want to work through. If we can get to a vehicle on their roof, that'd be great. But wheels on their side, vehicle on their side, vehicle on their wheels. And then we'll go into disentanglement a little bit. We're not cutting cars up next week. I know it's sad, but there will be options if you haven't to use some of the tools on some secondary metals and other things that we'll have down there, I believe. So you can get some tool time to feel that out. We do have our large extrication weekend training coming in November. That'll be in Anchorage. But the idea here, though, is to get the stabilization portion and then also talk about the de-energization portion. We're not de-energizing vehicles. I'm just going to do a caveat on this one as quickly as we used to. We are working around the hazards. There might be times where we don't do it at all. There might be times we do it a little faster than we have done it before. It's all situational and vehicle dependent and command directive. With the amount of locks, seat adjustabilities, trunk releases, all the other fun things, besides the EV portion of that big ball of wax we're not talking about too much right now. There's just times that we know that we have a 20, 30, 10. We have different rules that we can work with setbacks and offsets from hazards that we might want to work around to make sure that we're safe and we can keep the patient safe. So then 3 weeks from now, we're going to have the actual MVI training. It's going to be at the, what's that? Scenario, where we'll have hopefully multiple patients. We'll do multiple transport options, packaging, movement, and so forth. So looking forward to that one. Cap, what would you like to add?
I was just gonna say, not to air dirty laundry on, but we do have a low attendance. Like we continually have low attendance, and these trainings, if I'm going to beat the drum, this is some of the most important large incident stuff that you will be a part of. We don't do structure barriers very often. We don't do a lot of other stuff. This would be our bread and butter. So please try to be here for these. Try to strong arm other people into being here for these people that are not here tonight. It's just very few people. This is the stuff that you will be asked to do by yourself a lot of times. So setting up extrication, setting up triage, doing these things, be very, very seldom you'll have a lot of people. So you're going to want to be very, very well dialed and practiced with this stuff. And it's maybe 3 o'clock in the morning, adverse weather. You're not going to want to be dealing with all that stuff and trying to remember what you learned 3 years ago because you didn't show up to this training.
Yep. And again, everybody online, more than welcome, please. We're going to do it. We'll have attendance. We'll have, I believe, a presentation next week in person or on Teams. Then we'll be going out in the field for doing some things secondarily after that. But we'll definitely talk about stabilization, some other things locally on Teams. And then in 2 weeks from now, when we do the scenario, I'm super excited. If you guys are able to make it down here and participate, that'd be great. I know Lieutenant Ferntile has been working a lot on this one with all the different agencies, so thank you. As she's out transporting a patient right now, I know she would want to extend that, and also the participation for you guys joining us. I really appreciate it. This is we're few and far between in the southern portion of the municipality and the northeast portion of the Kenai. Strong but mighty, and I'm really excited to keep it going. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. Okay.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Yep, have a great night, guys.
Thanks, you guys. Have a good night.
Take care.